Ladies and gents, what a brilliant Mexican Grand Prix. Who says this racetrack is boring? It was awkward, it was fantastic. The Matador tames the bulls. Spanish man Carlos Sainz with a fantastic victory. He was mega throughout that race. Apart from the start, let's jump straight into the action and what happened. A rundown. It was a crazy start. Brilliant from Max Verstappen, in fact, right up alongside Carlos Sainz in the second phase. Brilliant job, right into turn one, first place. And then we got the big crash in behind, didn't we? Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon got together. It was really unlucky, to be honest. Both had nowhere to go. Yuki around the outside was really fast off the start line, wasn't he? Alex Albon stuck in a bit of no man's land, had an Alpine on the inside, had nowhere to go effectively. It's just, we've seen these incidents happen so many times. It's a racing incident, these things happen at the start, but so unlucky. Both went out after the first lap and it looked like it would be a decent weekend for both, wasn't it? Right on it for the pair of them. And yes, a restart. Max Verstappen pulled it off brilliantly, but then came back the Matador in it. Carlos Sainz, brilliant. A nice pass on Max Verstappen on lap 9, and then off he went. He was comfortable after that. Made a 12-second gap in the end before his first stop. And then we got to the big one, didn't we? That's what we'll all be talking about for a very long time. Lap 9, or was it lap 12, I think? Lando, Norris, Max Verstappen was slow. He had some issue with his battery recharging at the time, and Norris was looking to make the most of it. Had got there first to the apex, and Max Verstappen does what he normally does, got the inside line, ran deep, ran him out to the edge. I think it would have been more comfortable for Max Verstappen had the Ferrari not been so close in front of him. He got to the apex, he had no more sort of room to give. It would have been in the back of a Ferrari. Had that Ferrari not been there, I think it would have been more on Verstappen, that he would have more of that corner, and that's sort of what played in Norris's favour there. He did get run out wide, he did get pushed off track. Norris went wide, lived to fight for another corner, and then we got the craziness on the next corner, didn't we, where he just completely ran him off track. Max Verstappen, a bit of a dive bomb, took both off track, and then crazy from the team not to give it back, like we've been saying most people have been saying last week. Lando Norris should have given that pace back to Max Verstappen. He was so quick. And Max Verstappen should have given the place back to Lando Norris, would have saved himself 20 seconds or at least one 10-second penalty at least for going off track and keeping an advantage. Really silly. It was strange to see Max Verstappen fall apart like that. Unless he thought the battery issue was more terminal. He's had obviously car issues all weekend. The problem with the engine, either an engine looming, penalty looming on that front, who knows. But in the race there was an issue with the battery, and I think that just really triggered him, didn't he? Not seeing him lose it quite like that at all. And then we got a brilliant race from there on. Perez and Liam Lawson, them two effectively fighting out for that Red Bull seat. A really good battle from them. Nice, hard racing. And then we seen the Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Russell closing up on Lewis Hamilton, right up in the back of him early on. We seen Russell pass Lewis Hamilton, and then Lewis was on an absolute charge in the second stint. Russell with some damage to his front wing eventually got past George Russell, and I think that's the big one, isn't it? George Russell with a floor that was from Miami, and Lewis Hamilton on the latest Mercedes, and there was barely anything to pick between the two cars, wasn't it? And that says a lot for Mercedes upgrades. Not seem to have got them anywhere, in fact, which is really surprising. But a really good job from Lewis Hamilton in the end. And then we got this massive surprise. I mean, Lando Norris was absolutely on a charge in that second stint, got right behind Charles Leclerc, and he had that mega moment. How he kept it out of the wall. I jumped out of my seat. I thought he'd gonna drop it. Brave from Norris to just keep his foot in it. Charles Leclerc could have gone anywhere, but it wasn't to be. And then we got the pit for the fastest lap, didn't we? Both Sergio, Perez, Charles Leclerc went for the fastest lap, both pit on that lap, and Charles Leclerc got it comfortably. I think with the damage to Sergio Perez, it looked like that would always happen. Brilliant race overall. There was so much action. The Haas were brilliant. Kevin Magnussen just closing on Verstappen. All round there was action. throughout. Safety car race had everything, and normally we go to Mexico and we could say, it's a bit dull, that one. This had everything, this race. Let's get to the 3 good and the 3 bad, and the first of that, Carlos Sainz. He was mega, wasn't he? A brilliant race. Apart from the poor start, from there on he was magnificent. In the first stint, put 12 seconds on Charles Leclerc. In the second stint, had built up enough of a comfortable gap where even though Norris was on the charge, he kept him in check about 6 seconds, the gap there, so comfortable win in the end. The Matador tamed the ball. He got the pass on Max Verstappen, which was absolutely tremendous. And he was comfortable from there on. He got his win before he leaves the team, and I'm sure they'll be looking at more to come this end of the season. It gets them right up in the Constructors' hunt, doesn't they? Now, just less than 30 points, 29 points behind the McLarens. They've leapfrogged the Bulls, racing Red Bull into that second place, and Ferrari look almighty, don't they? They look the team to beat. Potentially could have been 1-2s back to back, but 2 wins on the trot. With no break now, it looks hard for anybody to catch these lot, don't they? Especially going into the next race, it looks like 3 out of 3 it should be for Ferrari. We're going a bit too far there, but yeah, this race was absolutely brilliant from him. A fantastic job. He was brilliant with his pole lap. Fantastic in the race, no faults there. A magnificent drive. The second of the 3 good was Kevin Magnussen, a fantastic P7. He's done an absolute brilliant job this weekend. Beats Nico Hülkenberg in qualifying and beats him in the race. It was really good. He was just 4 seconds off the back of Max Verstappen in the end. He was closing him down, no doubt, towards the end of the race, which was absolutely phenomenal from him. It's probably one of the best drives I've seen from him in that car. It's a shame that there's no real seat up for grabs for him, but in the last couple of races he's really shone, made the most of that car, and kind of a little bit disappointing that he's leaving the Haas team, isn't he? He's done a fairly decent job for the team overall. I know he's had some scruffy spots to race to the season, but he's come really good. And the third of the 3 good, I'm going for Pierre Gasly in that P10. Some great points finally for the Alpine team. They've come really strong out of the break, haven't they? Especially on Pierre Gasly's side. Didn't get any points in Austin, but really well deserved for this weekend. He was brilliant in qualifying, set himself up for the points and picked off a point finally. And yeah, absolutely brilliant from him. And I'm going to give a shout out to Lando Norris. I thought he was brilliant to come back and get second place. For all the world, it looked like he'd finish in third, and he maximised it in a day where Max Verstappen sort of went backwards. P6, he's got the 10-point lead. It's a shame he didn't go on and nick and win it like we needed to just cut that, make like a 17-point lead out of Verstappen. He's got a good 10 points though. Finally heading in the right direction. And we go to Brazil, and it could be anyone's there, couldn't it? It's absolutely brilliantly set up. A fantastic job from him. On to the 3 bad, and well, it's kind of easy, this one. The first of this was Max Verstappen. With that 20-second penalty for Lando Norris, self-destructing like that, it brought back 21 vibes, wasn't it, when he was under pressure and he just really lost it. He's been disappointed with the car all weekend. We know he's had engine issues in the practice sessions when it kind of really counted, and then to have that battery issue in the race, which kind of got Sainz past him and put Norris right on his rear wing, and I think that just kind of really just ignited him, and he just self-exploded, and it's not what you expect from a 3-time world champion, soon to be 4. The way it's all kind of still set up, isn't it? I mean, he was out 15th and brought himself way up into some decent points in the end. A P6 finish for him, but yeah, not the kind of race you thought he would have. I'm surprised, especially given the hard racing he had and the way he said it was last time out. He just didn't give that place back to Lando Norris, and then to run him off wide a couple of corners later was absolutely ridiculous. More so disappointing from him. I love this guy, the way he races. There's no 2 ways about that. He's hard and pushes every boundary and kind of what you need when you have a great champion. Yes, he whinges a little bit more, but I think that's just to push the team and pull out stuff that other guys can't. Look at what Sergio Perez is doing in this car, so got to give him credit, but this one was a really down point in his Yeah, brought his stature down a little bit in my views. It just went just too far. Didn't really need to do it. The second of the three bad, and it's his teammate Sergio Perez, and his home race qualifying was shocking. He actually had a brilliant race start, didn't he? Made up 5 places. Yes, he started about half a meter in front of his grid box, which was a ridiculous mistake. He was so far ahead of that yellow line, his front tyre should have been on. A really silly mistake, rookie error from such an experienced guy, and that just poured salt over the wounds of a brilliant start. And then from there on, it just went backwards. He had a brilliant battle with Liam Lawson, and it had to be Lawson, didn't he? The one that's all the rumours are that is taking his seat. Got some damage from there, and then from there on, he was lucky he didn't get a penalty with the incident or the racing where he effectively ran Lance Stroll off track. Could have been another penalty for him, and then went for fastest lap and didn't win that on the end either. All round, yeah, a horrible weekend from him. And the third of the 3 bad, and it's going to be 3 bulls in a row, isn't it? Liam Lawson, which was, it was really good battle with Sergio Perez. I've got to give him credit for that. Really good hard racing, but from there onwards, it just went horribly wrong. He got a damage with his battle with Franco Colapinto, had to pit, and then he was way down in the end. He finished 16th, just 1 place ahead of Sergio Perez, and that's only because Perez pitted to get the fastest lap. He's been in a real battle all weekend, hasn't he? It was a bit like Yuki Tsunoda's last time out. It's kind of reversed on its head for Lawson, hasn't it? Constantly in a battle, constantly stuck behind cars. In clear air, that car had decent pace and you thought it was moving forward, but to finish way down in the end would be... He was really disappointed and furious with his race in the end, but that's the way it goes. He was magnificent last time out, but I think this was one of his real poor ones, and had he pulled off a decent race, it would have been one where we could clear contrast to see, look, this is what we can do. Look at what Sergio Perez has done. The fact that he finished just 1 point ahead due to Perez pitting was neither here nor there. Yes, Perez is in a much better car, but he had a scruffy race, an incident. But yeah, I think he'll learn a lot from this weekend, Lawson, and take that away. But an awful weekend for the Bulls overall, isn't it, as a whole group? The Red Bulls exploding, penalties for Perez, penalties for Verstappen. Yuki Tsunoda going out and Lawson effectively finishing last. It just can't get any worse from them, can it? It was an absolute disaster class from them. But up at the front, Ferrari were flying high. Carlos Sainz with a absolutely brilliant drive. He was so good. Charles Leclerc unlucky not to come home and top off another Ferrari 1-2, which would have been brilliant, but them guys have been absolutely flying right on it. Put themselves in the hunt for a Constructors now. They look on it, don't they? With just 29 points to go, if they keep pulling off race results like this, in a couple of races' time, they'll be leading the Constructors Championship. And who'd have thought that? I kind of thought they were there or thereabouts, but to come back so quickly into that hunt with a couple of races is absolutely tremendous. They now have the target on their back, don't they, going into Brazil? They look like the team to beat. And that comes thick and fast. It's a quick turnaround. They jump straight into Brazil, sprint weekend. So sprint qualifying on Friday. So not much time at all for the racing, which is absolutely brilliant for us racing fans. If you love F1, it's absolutely on a massive high right now. It's going absolutely phenomenally well. Loving the sport. It's just got everything that you need. All the action was absolutely just fantastic. I've just got to say it again. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant racing, a great watch, a brilliant Mexican Grand Prix where I wasn't sure what we'd get. And then we head to Brazil next, which should be brilliant. Watch out for the driver ratings video coming soon. And then the preview for Brazil, which should be brilliant. But yes, Carlos Sainz, the Matador, tames the Bulls, beats the McLaren, Ferrari riding high. An absolutely brilliant race. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment. As always, see you next time.